Welcome to the Dark Underbelly. We are updating you on the case of former DeRidder Mayor Misty Roberts. She has been found guilty of both charges against her, which was sexually abusing a 16-year-old, completely ravaged a community for years. Many witnesses, a very expensive trial, a very controversial trial that ripped apart different elements of this community. It was clear very early in this case that Misty Roberts was guilty of the conduct that she was accused of, but she just couldn't find it in her to plead guilty. She just couldn't find it in her to avoid breaking apart a community, causing chaos for over a year inside her own family. And of course, she just needed that victim to testify, and she needed all those teenagers to come forward now that they're in college and they're probably more reserved and embarrassed and they don't want to be a part of it. She leveraged it to a max with attitude and entitlement as we become more familiar with cases like this, where destroying a community doesn't matter, saving the victim and the witnesses from having to testify doesn't matter. Saving your own family and your own son who witnessed some of your conduct, including organizing and getting drunk at parties for teenagers. We've seen this time and time again, where a lot of these predators who have seemingly been getting away with this behavior for a long time, not today and not in Louisiana, where we've got a update for you, guilty and guilty. And we're going to go earlier in the day. There was an update in the case about the witnesses. The victim did testify.
Former DeRidder Mayor Misty Roberts is now in the jury's hands. Good afternoon. I'm Morgan Babineau. Roberts is accused of having sex with a teen at a 2024 pool party while she was mayor. And today there was more shocking testimony from the teen at the center of the trial. KPLC's Devin Cruz has been in court all day. Devin, can you break down what's happened so far and what's next?
What do we got, Devin?
Yeah, Morgan, we heard a lot today. We heard closing statements, and as you said, it is in the jury's hands. I originally had reported to you guys that they were getting jury instructions from the judge, but no, we actually watched several people walk out. The jury is deliberating right now. It's been a long day, and this case very well may wrap up today, so I'm going to jump into some of what has happened today. Now, the teen in question, the victim, took the stand and described in detail what he said happened the night of the alleged incident. He testified Roberts was really drunk, and he'd also been drinking heavily. The victim said while outside, he and Roberts flirted with each other, and eventually they kissed by the pool, at which point he says Roberts said they shouldn't continue kissing outside. The victim said he asked Roberts if they could go upstairs, and she agreed. He then told jurors they had sex. He testified that afterwards he realized what was happening He claims Roberts and her son got into a fight in an argument in which she allegedly said, quote, "Go fight your friend. He's the one who did it." The defense called one witness, an officer in the case, who is in charge of extracting.
Go fight your friend. He's the one who did it. The entitlement and the viewpoint from a lot of women that commit these crimes. I didn't do it. This isn't my fault. He did it. The victim did it. Peyton Shires, blame the victim. Andy Rosafort, lunch lady in New Jersey. I did forgive him for reporting this, even though all the other female inmates told me that I should hate the boy that I molested. Misty Roberts is saying to her own son, "Go fight the kid that I just molested. Don't fight me. It's his fault. He did it." We're churning the psychology of these cases. Dark Underbelly, DU, is churning.
Information from the phones that were taken by police. The defense pressed him on why they did not investigate the surveillance app found on Roberts' phone for evidence. We also saw photos from Roberts' backyard months before the alleged crime in 2024 taken from that phone. Now, we also got to hear closing arguments today. The state opened there saying, quote, "I told you at the beginning of the trial, a lewd and lascivious photo is worth 1,000 words." Assistant District Attorney Charles Robinson then rapid-fired evidence at the jury, including a photo of Roberts and the victim that is the centerpiece for the trial. He pointed to testimony from several witnesses that say that they caught the two in the act. The defense also got the chance to close, highlighting the lack of consistencies between testimony of witnesses. Defense attorney Adam Johnson also was animated, and in his arguments, he said that the state failed to investigate DNA evidence, surveillance video, and follow-up testimony in the case. He also said, quote, "I told you it was a bad look," to the jury, but he also said that they were fully clothed. And that was in reference to the photo at the center of the trial. He went on to say that, quote, "She shouldn't have been in that room in the first place," but he added that the state failed to present evidence in the case that would convict his client. Now, we could be called back in at any moment if the jury comes back with a verdict. But right now, as I told you, we had testimony from two separate witnesses, the victim and the officer who was in charge of the phones, and we heard closing arguments. So, of course, it's going to be a busy day, and we hope to have that decision here soon so we can wrap this up. But for now, reporting live in DeRidder, Devin Cruz, 7 News.
Breaking news tonight, a jury just found former DeRidder Mayor Misty Roberts guilty on both charges. Good evening, I'm Cynthia Arsenault. The jury deliberated for around an hour before finding Roberts guilty of indecent behavior with a juvenile and carnal knowledge of a juvenile. KPLC's Devin Cruz has been following the trial for us and joins us now from the courthouse in DeRidder.
That's right, Cynthia. We did hear today 2 guilty verdicts come out of the jury for felony carnal knowledge and felony indecent behavior with a juvenile. After that verdict was read, emotions came out in the courtroom. The victim's mother began crying. She was asked to leave. Misty Roberts began sobbing.
The judge tossed the victim's mom after she's sobbing. Where are the high fives? Where are the celebrations? This 16-year-old became a man. Mayor Misty gave him the developmental rights to become a man. But the mother who sees what it did to her son, what it did to the community, tore apart the family, tore apart the community. Mayor Misty don't care. She didn't think she did anything wrong. The laws don't apply in this situation, in these examples. You know, women are doing boys a favor, not according to the victim's mom, who was tossed by the judge because she got a little emotional with the guilty.
Ultimately, also, lawyers, after that happened, lawyers began discussing what was going to happen with her sentencing.
Not taken into custody.
The date is April 17th of this year. We also know that Roberts was accused of having sex with a teen at a 2024 pool party while she was mayor, and today there was more shocking testimony from the teen at the center of the trial. He took the stand today and described in detail what he says happened the night of the alleged incident. He testified Roberts was really drunk and he'd also been drinking heavily. He then told jurors they had sex. He testified that afterwards he realized what was happening. He claims Roberts and her son got into a fight in which she allegedly said, "Go fight your friend. He's the one who did it." After closing arguments, the jury deliberated for under an hour. Now, just as we wrapped up court today and we got that date for that hearing, April 17th at 9 a.m., there was issues that came up in court. Ultimately, the judge at first said that she was going to be taken back into custody and sent at a...
Well, I mean, she was just convicted and she's facing up to 17 years in state prison. She got a fair trial. It's been a long road. Normally, we are going to be remanded into custody. That would be appropriate. That would be normal. That would be like every other male predator convicted of these types of crimes. Mayor Misty walks out the front door of the courthouse after being guilty of 2 sexual offenses against a child.
$100,000 bond, but the defense team argued that there's some sort of stipulation with her original bond that may make it to where she does not have to be taken into custody. They're in court right now discussing that. I came outside just to tell you guys about it.
She got free, Devin.
Ultimately, we hope to have a solution to this and understand what's happening, but that's all I have for you now. We'll have a full report on our website of what happened today and what is going to happen going forward. For now, reporting live in DeRidder, Devin Cruz, 7 News.
So let's quickly review what happened in this case in the timeline. It was in 2024 that a pool party happens in which Mayor Misty, DeRidder's mayor, attends this pool party that was basically a bunch of teenagers. There's drugs, there's alcohol, and Mayor Misty is very drunk. her best friend, who works at the fire department or is a secretary at the fire department, shows up twice during this party for whatever reason. A lot of women seem to be infesting areas where teenagers are partying, as well as we have the example of party mom. She's actually running the parties, dozens of them. Something going on. This is a mother, party mom. Mothers really being desiring to be around in a very inappropriate way with their daughters or sons, friends, and inappropriate behavior, and engaging in criminal conduct, in this case, sexual abuse. A witness who was 17 at the time, now a student, he said he wasn't honest. Witness one from yesterday, he wasn't truthful when he talked to the police. But in 2024, when this initiated, he told investigators with his parents present that he was asleep during the alleged incident and did not see anything. On Monday, he testified that was a complete lie and that he actually had seen Roberts and the victim having sex. He was a direct eyewitness to it, and he decided to lie. We are seeing a lot of lies here in the Pred complex. We do see a lot of boys lying on behalf of predators, lying to deflect for them, keeping it a secret, or lying outright to investigators. And this is what happened here. He was not charged with a crime for lying, but it is a crime to lie to the police. Seems like it happens routinely in cases like this, because it's not cool to snitch in cases like this. It's not cool to snitch on an adult woman who is involved in a relationship with a boy. It's just not cool. It's much more courageous. It's much more empowered to report a disgusting, perverted man for engaging in this type of behavior. But to report women, it's like, I don't want to be. So I lie. So he lied. Now he's coming here and telling the truth, but telling the jury, it just seemed the easiest thing to do was to keep up with the lie. And as Mayor Misty's best friend told us, we lie until we die. He testified that at the party, the group was drinking and swimming and that he saw Roberts becoming intoxicated. He also said that before the incident, Roberts and the victim took a photo together, and that struck him that it was unusual. Wasn't unusual that a mother is getting drunk with a bunch of teenagers. That wasn't, but the photo was unusual. Another witness testified that Roberts did not only unpack the alcohol, she completely bought all of the alcohol. He had drank a beer, 14 years old, and parents didn't know about it. And he drank from the time he arrived at 6 to Mayor Misty's house until he left at 2 or 3 a.m. That's exactly where you want your 14-year-old, at a party with Mayor Misty, getting completely drunk and you don't know about it. This 14-year-old testified he saw Roberts and the victim kissing by the pool and watched them go upstairs. He said he saw Roberts' nephew recording through the window and that he witnessed the two having sex with no clothing on, from the ground, looking up at the balcony through a crack in the window. She was acting real crazy. No kidding. Testified that Robert's nephew told her he had proof of what she had done and that she demanded his phone. Another is like, you're weird. Give me your phone. You're weird. Like Peyton Shires told her victim, you're weird. Give me your phone. Delete your evidence. Now, you're weird for keeping that of my crimes. You're sick. I can't believe you're abusing me because you're not deleting evidence from your phone. And he was asked, are you sure you saw Misty and the victim having sex in the bonus room? The witness replied, yes, sir. Yet another witness took the stand as well, and that was the lead investigator for the state police, the Louisiana State Police, who ran this investigation. That's Melissa Welch. She clarified her statement famously to a bunch of witnesses in the case that there was delay and lies and deflection. We saw a bunch of witnesses lying, covering up, totally a community-wide chaos for a woman that committed sex crimes, that simply could not take responsibility for her actions, that she is just going to drive this thing home and divide this place up, divide this small town up. and go for her own benefit to try to create as much doubt and chaos in this, destroy the community so that she could remain free, even though it was obvious she committed the crime. It became clear she committed the crime with all of this evidence. The Melissa Welch, the investigator, clarified her comment when she said famously that all these witnesses who are lying and covering this up, they need to get on board the train or get run over. She did not direct that at any of the children witnesses and juveniles. She was directing that at the adults who were trying to cover everything up for Mayor Misty. That's who she had a problem with. Get on the train for Melissa Welch or get run over. That's she clear. And then we had Jill Weaver, very suspicious Welch was of what Jill Weaver is in and out of this party for teenagers throughout the night. And famously, Jill Weaver, Mayor Misty's best friend, works at the fire department, says to her own son to cover up a pedophile and a predator, abuse of a child, juvenile sex crime, her best friend, son, you know what we do. We lie until we die. That was Jill Weaver telling her son how we cover up crimes like this in the great state of Louisiana. The defense attorney pressed the detective on the handling of the evidence. He wasn't happy about some of the which phones were seized, which weren't. Was there any surveillance, et cetera, et cetera. And finally, the victim's mom took the stand on Monday and said she received a text from a family member asking to talk, and her first instinct was that her son had done something wrong. When she had learned what actually happened, she testified her son told her directly that he and Misty Roberts had sex. He said they had sex and that he was disgusted. Oh, how horrifying is that? To the Pred complex. To all the people that glorify this, that love this, that celebrate this. That a boy, a juvenile, told his mother that he had sex and that he was disgusted by it with an adult woman. Imagine that. A child sexual abuse victim is disgusted by the things that happened to him. And he's not keeping it a secret, not covering it up. He's not lying. He's not bottling it up for his whole life. Then he devolves into whatever. We've seen 1 in 6 boys that were sexually abused. And most of them never reported it. Does that turn into alcohol? Does that turn into drugs? Does that turn into other vices? Does that turn into treatment of men when they get older, treatment of women when they get older, treatment of children when they get older? What does that spin off into? What their education look like when they grew up so fast, so young? He apologized. The child victim apologized to his mom. And his parents said we said he had nothing to apologize for, which is true. You had nothing to apologize for. She also testified that her son told Roberts had been flirting with him throughout the night, walking by and putting her hand on his leg, telling him he looked good, and that she was in her bikini. She also said that since her son got to the party late, he told her that kids were feeding him drinks to catch up. She said the family put their home on lockdown after learning what happened. Said people were rapidly reaching out to her the days following the party. She agreed that initially the two families involved wanted to keep it quiet to make the situation go away. She agreed that initially the two families, the juvenile sex abuse victim's family and the perpetrator's family, just wanted to go away. I'm wondering how many decisions are made like that when a 16-year-old girl is abused by a dad who runs a pool party in his bikini, I guess. I don't know. She agreed that initially the two families involved wanted to keep bit quiet to make the situation go away. She testified that she knew she could not call DeRidder City Police because Roberts was their boss. We didn't know who we could trust. Initially, a family of a child sexual abuse victim and the perpetrators wanted to keep it quiet, make it just go away. Their son was victimized. What does it matter? He's a boy having sex with a woman. What does that happen all the time? Never gets reported 99% of the time. Let's try to make this go away. I'm wondering if the same calculus would be made if a dad was running a pool party for a bunch of teenagers, getting sloppy drunk, giving them drugs, buying them alcohol, then having sex with one of the 16-year-old girl attendees. And that girl goes home, talks to her dad, and her dad makes an agreement with the perpetrator's dad. Let's just keep it quiet. We want it to go away. She did meet with the district attorney behind a bank in DeRidder, like a espionage meeting, like Robert Hansen in Feeding the Russians. She had to meet at a bank, behind a bank, because she did not want to be seen with the district attorney. Lestich, Jimmy Lestich, told her she may want to call the sheriff's office. She said she personally knows Sheriff Mark Hereford, and contacted him directly. She said Hereford told her to contact the state police. Man, everybody's tossing this away. I mean, we got a victim of child abuse and people are trying to keep it a secret. District attorneys are saying, call the sheriff. The sheriff's saying, call the state police. I don't see any strong men here. I don't see any strong women here. I see just complete, utter societal cowardice from start to finish. But this devolved so much into Misty wanted the entitlement of being the victim and the entitlement of being acquitted for conduct she very clearly, by the evidence, committed. And she didn't care if she was going to tear apart her own family, tear apart the victim's family, and tear apart this community, which she now has. I mean, this is all over the news, and it will be all over the news for a long time. I wanted to crawl in a hole, the mother said, the victim's mother said. I wanted it to go away. As a mother, you want to do everything you can to protect your children. By covering up sexual abuse, by making it all go away, don't bring the perpetrator to justice. That's really going to help your son in the long term, right? Tell him that it's not wrong what happened to him. Tell him that the perpetrator, even though we have all of these laws against abusers and we have all of these stringent, we've got, how stranger danger and all of these warning signs to kids. But when a kid finally gets abused, I just want it to go away. I want to crawl in a hole. I want it to all go away. And I want to do everything I can to protect my kid by trying to hide and cover all of this up. Interesting. During cross-exam, the defense pointed out that both she and a family member work in the school system and are mandatory reporters, trained and legally required to report such abuse. She agreed. So we had one witness who was a juvenile who lied to police. We had a mandatory reporter who is the mother of the victim who hid it for a while, not charged. A lot of tentacle crimes that are being occurred here. And it's just like, when obviously the largest crime is Mayor Misty that everybody's trying to cover up, everybody's trying to lie for. But they're not charged because they eventually want the big fish, which is Mayor Misty, and get a conviction. They did, but look at all of these lies and cover-ups. There were crimes. Mayor Misty is facing a possible sentence of 17 years, a trial that has shocked the community and torn it apart, made them national news, headlines everywhere, from the New York Post to Daily Mail. Mayor Misty drives it home. She don't care. She wants to intimidate this boy who's now a young man. He's going to crumble. Maybe he'll lie for me. I'm going to wedge this all the way to the I don't care if I hurt the victim. I'm the victim. What do you mean that I don't want to re-traumatize the victim? He ain't no victim. I'm the victim, Peyton Shires. And I kid you not, as I am following Devin Cruz's coverage of the Mayor Misty trial, who he's done an excellent job reporting. It seems like he's been at every day of this trial. Thank him for his reporting and that of KPLC. I was perusing KPLC, the news station in Louisiana, and two headlines today pop up. And here's the two headlines. In addition to Mayor Misty, is there something in the water in Louisiana? Or is there something, a change in about the reporting of these crimes that seemingly occurred by the dozens every week?
Vernon Parish now, where this Pitkin woman is facing several charges, including attempted rape and battery of a police officer. 24-year-old Jania Powell was arrested by the Vernon Parish Sheriff's Office last week after a disturbance at a home. Investigators tell us when deputies arrived, allegations of inappropriate sexual conduct were made against Powell. Deputies say she tried to resist arrest, but she was ultimately booked into the Vernon Parish jail.
Well, now we're going to head east over to Acadiana, where we've got an update on a middle school teacher of the year. She's accused of inappropriate behavior with her former student. Now, just to bring you up to speed, last week, Lafayette police arrested 38-year-old Christy Oster on 2 charges, carnal knowledge of a juvenile and indecent behavior with juveniles. The 2025-26 Broussard Middle School Teacher of the Year was released after posting a $30,000 bond. Well, now she's facing a new charge. Police in Broussard learned of another incident in town and issued an indecent behavior warrant for her arrest. They say she turned herself in and bonded her out after paying a $10,000 bail. According to KDN-TV, she's been placed on leave by the Lafayette Parish School System.
Middle school teacher of the year. Sexual abuse of one of her students. Pitkin woman charged. Sex crimes against a child and battery on a police officer. Is there something in the water in Louisiana? No, I think there's something in the water all over this country. It's seemingly an epidemic, and we are at the forefront of it, and you will want to stay with us if you want more actual coverage of the behind-the-scenes opinions of what is really going on in our society. What is really going on in our culture? Has this been covered up for so long? We'll see. I don't know. I think it has been going on for a very, very long time, and it's just now being taken somewhat seriously. And the equality, truth in sentencing, equality in sentencing. So there you have it. Mayor Misty is convicted of 2 counts of sex abuse of a 16-year-old. She will be sentenced next month. She leaves the courthouse free as a bird. Watch any flights from here to Caracas or Moscow coming out of DeRidder, Louisiana. 2 more cases on the same day on KPLC's website that's reporting on Mayor Misty, women who have been charged with sex crimes against juveniles. Keep it here on the Dark Underbelly. We are at the forefront of covering cases like this and the double standard that we see in society. Is this a new phenomenon? Is this an old phenomenon? Is this an epidemic? Or is it just now becoming applied equally to female offenders as male offenders? Mayor Misty, convicted in Louisiana, guilty verdicts in under 1 hour.